Hi, I'm Ryan, and I created Nyched. This is often a time of year where many people are experiencing a great amount of joy and getting to spend time with family and looking forward to the next year and reflecting on the past year. But it's also a time of immense trial for some, whether that be because of loss or loneliness or just the pressure to be performing at a certain level or be perfect. I know that I've been there before. And if that's what you're feeling right now, I want you to know that you're not alone. I imagine that everybody on some level this time of year feels that way. The uncertainty of what the next year will bring. I'm not sure quite what it is about the end of the year that triggers our brains to start feeling and thinking these ways, but I know I've been there before. And especially the last year or so, a little bit more, I've had my share of trials. In fact, it's been one of the hardest times in my life. I just wanted to take some time to talk to you guys about perspective and outlook and to encourage you that there is hope if you're feeling that right now, this time of year. I've had my fair share of trials in life. But I don't believe in dwelling there. I don't believe in continuing to look back and say, all these bad things happen to me. Not because it's not true, but because it's not beneficial for me to stay there. It's true that all this stuff has happened to me in my life. It's true that all the stuff that's happened to you has happened to you in your life. But if it was bad, there's nothing we can do about it. We can only move forward and learn how to deal with those things that happen to us. And when we don't learn to deal with them and move forward, and we dwell there, it creates a situation where oftentimes we're paralyzed. I believe in acknowledging the pain and trials and despair that we feel. But I also believe in looking forward and trying to find a way through all of the muck that is life at times. And also along with that is recognizing the good things. The internet doesn't help with this most of the time. Most of the time, the internet puts up the things that are going to engage with our most visceral emotions, the things that get us hot, or the things that get us sad, or the things that usually we don't want to think about and we don't want to deal with on a daily basis. And that's because of algorithms and programs that have been designed to keep us engaged for as long as we can. Because our eyeballs are what makes these companies money. Our time is what makes these companies money. And instead, I envision a future where platforms are operating ethically and they take in consideration the user first instead of profits first. And they put you in a position where you get to choose and you get to have full control of your online environment so that you can see what you want to see, have a more positive outlook on things. Now, I also do not believe in forcing you to be optimistic. If you're the type of person that doesn't care about that type of stuff, then I would also want to create an environment where you get to have that decision and that determination as well. When we take the time to actually reflect on the year that we had, whether it was a good year, an okay year, or a great year, and see how far we've come, it spurs us on into the future. It helps us to get perspective on our lives and perspective on our actual situation. And it helps us to connect with the things that are more authentic, the things that are real, the things that matter the most to us. When everybody takes some time to look back and see what happened to them truly in the year, how much they've grown, where they were on January 1st, 2024 compared to where they are on December 31st, 2024, I think you begin to realize, okay, I did see a change, I did see growth. Maybe not to the extent that I wanted, but we can't control certain things in life, and if we can't control it, it's a waste of time to dwell there. That's what I'm trying to do with Nyched. I'm trying to create an environment where instead of getting sucked into scrolling, which doesn't help with the despair that we feel at the end of the year, it's a place where we can interact with the things that are authentic and real to us, the interests and hobbies and perspectives and ideologies that we have, and then move forward with hope that we can continue to learn and grow about those things. And hopefully, at the end of the day, we become doers of those things instead of just consumers of those things. And that spurs us on to have the energy and the excitement and the authenticity that we want in life. Before I keep talking on this, I want to take a moment and just share my gratitude for each and every one of you. Maybe this is the first video of mine you've seen. Maybe you've seen a bunch of them and you've been here for a little while. I just wanted to say how blown away I am by the community that we're growing here. The positivity that's around, the constructive comments that we get, it's amazing to me how even when someone, I think it might be a negative comment, when we actually dive into the conversation, it's not. The other part of this too is I just wanted to apologize. My whole family has been sick the last month since Thanksgiving, and I have not been keeping up with responding to comments and whatnot. I'm committed to getting back to each and every one of you before too long here in the next week or so. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for your excitement about Nyched. And I'm looking forward to what this community brings in the future. I think it's the start of something really amazing. And I think it's the start of something very transformative. And the internet is going to face a point where it has to respond and it has to make a decision what type of community the internet itself wants to be online. Having the ability to focus on the good things and find hope even in the midst of trials and tough times for me, was one of the most life-changing skills that I've ever learned. For me, having the ability to look at a day and saying, okay, maybe today sucked. Maybe this week sucked. Maybe this month sucked. But someone said something kind to me, or I had a wonderful conversation with a friend, even in the midst of all of that. Or even just knowing that, reminding yourself that the tough times don't last forever. The problem with staying there and being paralyzed by it is it prolongs the tough time. It prolongs the trial. So finding hope in despair, finding hope in those tough times is something that we all need to learn how to do. I think the best way to do it is to just remind yourself daily the good things we have, especially here in the West, and even more so here in America. The benefit we have compared to the rest of the world and the leg up that we have is something to be optimistic and excited about. We live in a world and a country where tomorrow we could go out and find a job if we wanted to. Tomorrow we know there's going to be food on the shelves at the grocery store. And we need a lot more of that optimism in the world. We need a lot more people thinking, it's going to be better. It's going to get better tomorrow, and I'm going to be a part of it. I'm going to be a part of what makes the world better. I might not be able to change the world all by myself, but together, if we all start thinking a little more like this every day, I think that would have an impact on the world. I think we would start to see changes. And I think we're at a crucial time in history where we need some of that. So I would encourage you, take a couple of moments, think about the good things you have in life. So I'm not a big believer in doing the whole New Year's resolution thing, mainly because it doesn't really do anything for me. I am much more a believer in setting the intent every day, setting the intent every week, and trying to strive for that next moment of leveling up. Trying to get to the point where, okay, I was 1% better this week than I was last week, or I did X a little bit better than I did X the last time. And becoming more proficient and becoming better. One of my mantras this past year has been progress, not perfection, because if left to my own devices, I'm an extreme perfectionist. And it bogs me down and it puts me in that rut and it puts me into that, feeling of despair at times because I can't do things perfectly. I've never met anybody who can do things perfectly. So I would encourage you to set the intent, maybe not for the whole year. That seems overwhelming to me. Set the intent for tomorrow. Set the intent today to wake up an hour earlier or whatever. It doesn't have to be that. Set the intent today to, put 25 more grams of protein into your diet. Set the intent today for something you can do tomorrow. Eat breakfast. Maybe you've been struggling brushing your teeth. I don't know what it is, but set the intent and don't let yourself end tomorrow without doing that thing. This video is sponsored by you because without you, I wouldn't be here. Without your support, Nyched wouldn't be a thing. And without having people hearing my perspective and ideology for the application and the platform moving forward, I would not have anyone to talk to. I dedicate this final video of the year to you guys, and I want to thank you for your support and your generosity and your kind words throughout the year. It has helped in ways you might not even know to shape the future of Nyched and to shape the future of the internet. I hope to see you more next year. I'm excited and grateful for everything that you've done. And I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you so much. Stay tuned because there's more coming up and I'm so excited to share it with you. When I'm going through tough times, one of the ways I try and continue to move forward is I try to remind myself of the good things. One of the biggest things that usually rises to the top of my mind is all the communities of different types of people that I have around me. And it was not easy to grow these groups of people and to grow these communities and be invested in these people's lives. But I have good friends. I have good relationships with my family. I have good relationships with my kids and my spouse. And I totally understand that not everybody has all of that. They don't have that infrastructure there. It's part of what's degraded in society over the last 25 or 30 years. And I believe it's part of what contributes to the despair that we feel at the end of the year, and even through other times throughout the year. Finding communities is one of the ways that we can share the burden, amongst ourselves. I know when I have people in my life that are having a hard time, I try to do anything I can to alleviate that burden to at least some extent for them. That's part of what, to me, is so amazing about the internet. It does provide a technological way to connect people on some level. But also, if it doesn't evolve past the online level, it's usually pretty shallow. Those are pretty surface level relationships. They're not necessarily the people you would go to and say, this is what I'm going through. Can you at least hear me out and help me? Maybe they are sometimes, but I know my experience and a lot of people that I've talked to experiences, it's tougher to make those deep relationships and those deep community friendships online through technology. If you are in that situation where you're feeling an immense amount of despair, I would encourage you to talk to someone. Find someone that you can reach out to in any way, shape, or form, where you can be around those types of people. Talk to your parents, talk to your friends, talk to your other family members. And also know that it takes work. It was not easy for me to create these close relationships with my family and my friends. It was something that I had to be intentional about, and I had to reach out and seek these relationships out. So they don't just happen. Anyone who tells you they do, that they're lying. It doesn't just happen. You don't just have friends fall in your lap tomorrow. The benefit for these types of things that I hope to see happen with Nyched is that it's got the community aspect of it, the start of having those relationships without the whole, abrasiveness of getting you locked in and sucked into the platform. So you just stay there for hours and hours, hoping to find a little bit of a dopamine hit or dopamine rush that does come eventually, but doesn't sustain. My hope is that these communities start to meet and interact offline, or at the very least that it encourages you to get offline doing the things that you're passionate about. I used to hate optimists. I used to think they were pie in the sky, goody two-shoes, liars, right? Not realistic, not grounded in reality. There were people who believed in utopia, and instead I saw the world devolving into dystopia. I was very negative. I wasn't optimistic about anything. I thought that anything that could go wrong would go wrong, and it was uniquely heat-sinking me out. I had a paradigm shift in my life a few years ago, many years ago now, and I started to dabble in this optimism thing, and I started to think about it, and I was like, okay, this is weird. I feel good about tomorrow, at least better about tomorrow than I did 20 minutes ago. And as time went on, I became more optimistic. And now looking back on that journey from being the eternal pessimist to maybe not quite being an eternal optimist, but at least reorienting myself towards optimism when I feel like I'm being pessimistic, I realize that it's just that. It's what I just said. It's not that optimists were pie in the sky, liars not grounded in reality. It's that optimists chose not to put as much of an emphasis on the bad things that were happening as they did on the possibility of the good things that were coming and the good things that were in their lives. And I hope you see through my videos that that's the life I live. I try and encourage people when I'm talking to them to find the good things, find the stuff that is good. You might have one good thing, but I know for a fact everyone has one good thing. And I can hear the comments now, Ryan, I have nothing good. Okay, well, I believe in you, and that's your good thing. I believe you're worth it, and that should be your good thing. So you're wrong, because if we ever meet face to face, I'm going to tell you the same thing, and I'm going to help pull you up out of the rut that you're in if I can. You know, I will do everything in my power to get you where you need to be. So if you're the type of person watching this and you think nothing good is in my life, I don't care who you are, I don't know you, I don't know your name, but I believe in you. I believe that you can do better, and I believe you can start today, and I believe that this next year will be 100% different than this last year if you hold on to that mentality that tomorrow can be better. Because what I've found is whatever we think about, it kind of comes true, right? If we think that tomorrow can be better, tomorrow usually ends up being better. If we think that the next hour is going to be a drag, the next hour is probably going to be a drag. If I go to exercise and I think, man, I don't want to exercise today, this is going to suck. At the end of the exercise, I think that really sucked, or I end up not doing it at all. But if I walk into the gym with a mentality, you know, this is going to be good. It's going to energize me for the day. It's a healthy thing for me to do. Progress, not perfection. Then, you know what? That ends up being true. Am I any more or less sore than I would have been otherwise? No. Are my physical circumstances changed? Not other than I actually did the workout instead of just foregoing it. So look on to the next day. Look on to the next week. Look on to the next month or the next year and find the silver lining. And I promise you, if you start recognizing the silver lining, that lining will get wider and wider and wider. And most of the time then, the little stuff won't even faze you anymore. As we wrap up this year, I wanted to leave you guys with this. If you're in a position, and even if you're not, where you feel despair, or you feel the immense pressure of everything just weighing down on you, I want you to know there's hope. I want you to know that there's people who care about you, even if you don't believe that. I care about you. I am so glad that you're starting to build this community around Nyched, and that we're starting to have interactions and get to know one another. I used to be a pessimist. I used to think that everything that could go wrong would go wrong. And in fact, it did. And when I started to shift, when I started to reform my mind into focusing on the positive things and focusing on the things that are going well, I realized that those things started happening to me. And it wasn't that they weren't there before, it was that I didn't put as big of an importance on the good things as I did on the bad things. And now I'm in a position where I look for the good things and I don't sweat the bad. This is the type of community I hope to grow with Nyched. I just wanted to thank you for being here. I wanted to thank you for your support. I wanted to thank you for watching all the videos that you watched this year and leaving all the comments that you left this year. And if you checked out the app, to thank you for that as well this year. It means the world to me. I know together the future is bright. I know that there's hope for the future. And I know that together we can find it. Nyched is the world's first human interaction platform, and it is totally within your control. To learn more, go to resistthealgorithm.com. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you have something to say, if you have a thought or a story that you want to share about a time when you felt despair and you came out on the other end better for it, please drop that down below. It's my favorite part, getting to interact with one another. If you want to see more, I would ask humbly that you subscribe to our channel and stay tuned, because the next video is coming up right